Well, how's it going, YouTube? Oh, welcome to Jar It Up January. 31 days of canning between myself and 5 of my friends here on YouTube. That's Lisa from Sutton's Days, Mandy from More to Life, Angie from Angie's Pantry, Paul from Paul's Rule of Thumb, as well as Tina from Wilhelm's Kitchen. I will leave links to their channels down below so you can go over there and watch their canning videos. But for the entire month of January, one of us will be putting up a canning video, bringing you 31 days of canning. I will have all of these videos in a playlist. I will link up above in one of those corners. and so all you have to do is click on it and you can watch the whole playlist of 31 videos. So I'm super excited. Today I am canning salsa, and not just any salsa. There's lots of salsa recipes out there. This salsa is from Mrs. Wages. It's super easy and it's really meant for the beginner canner. Ladies out there, gentlemen out there who got a canner for Christmas, I am going to show you a very simple, easy, foolproof canning recipe. As a newbie canner, sometimes it's very intimidating canning for the first time, especially if you're doing something like a jam or a jelly where you're using pectin and you're not sure of how to, gel set and test your pectin and, whether or not your jelly's thick enough or your jam. Some of that can be overwhelming when you're learning the steps of canning. So it's really important to start off with something easy, something simple, and that's what we're going to do today. So this video, this particular canning video, is for all of you newbies out there, you beginner canners who have never canned before and are nervous and are a little anxious and are trying to remember all the steps in your mind, which already seems overwhelming. And then to make a recipe on top of that, can sometimes seem a little too much, and it prevents people from bringing out the canner for the first time and actually using it. So I'm going to show you how simple it is. Here we go. So all you need for this recipe, 3 things: diced tomatoes, a bag of Mrs. Wages salsa, and some white distilled vinegar or apple cider vinegar, a ½ cup. And that's it. So you can use some fresh tomatoes. They have directions on the back. If you choose to use 6 cans of 4½ ounces each, if you choose to use 6 pounds of fresh tomatoes, or like me, I just bought a number 10 can of diced tomatoes. I won't be using all of this. I'll be keeping 10 to 12 ounces inside the can, which I will use tonight for dinner on some Spanish rice, so it doesn't go to waste. But that's it. 3 things, super easy, made for beginners. You're not worried, you don't have to worry about chopping or dicing peppers and onions and all of that. This is a great thing to can your first time out when you're trying to remember all the steps of canning, and you just need a really simple, easy, and delicious recipe, by the way, because I've made this many times and it's a great recipe. All right, guys, all you need is a heavy potted, I have a heavy copper potted copper bottom pot. This is my Emerald Lagasse. It is old. I think it's like, might be like at least 20 years old. But this is what I'm going to use. It is I think a 6 quart. It might be an 8 quart, but I think it's a 6. So just something big enough to hold all the tomatoes and your vinegar and the seasoning mix. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this in the pot. All right, so let's get our tomatoes poured in here. And I'm going to leave just a little bit on the bottom. You can be more accurate if you want in making your recipe. That's what I'm using. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add the white vinegar. And then I'm going to just throw in my Mrs. Wages packet. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a whisk. I'm going to turn it on the heat, and we just want to bring this to a boil. Get this mixed in really well. And if the tomatoes are a little too chunky for you, you can go ahead and smash them with a potato masher if you want. They will cook down though as this cooks down. So All right, I will bring you back when this comes to a boil. All right, so it's just now coming to a boil, and I just put a potato masher in here, and I'm just going to mash up just gently some of these bigger chunks of tomato that I have in here. I was not able to find a big can of the petite tomatoes, so only the diced. So just a couple of these are just a little too big for my liking for my salsa to get on a chip. So if you find the same, just take a little masher and just mash down the tomatoes just a little bit. So now once this comes to a boil, I'm going to wait till it comes to a full rolling boil. Go ahead and reduce the heat and simmer this for 10 minutes. So I will set my timer and let this go for 10 minutes. For those of you who are new to canning, I'm going to link my video above to the process that I do with my water bath canning before and after, because currently right now I am boiling my jars in the water bath canner. So if you want to see those steps, go ahead and watch that video. I'm going to try to help you guys out as much as I can for anyone just starting out, because I want everyone to can. Because canning, once you do it, and once you start learning the steps and understanding the steps and you get comfortable, canning is not only a lot of fun, and not only is it very empowering, but I really get into a zen, if you will. I get in a zone, and it's very relaxing. It helps a lot with my stress, a lot with my anxiety, and yeah, it just it helps me decompress, if you will. A nice, good canning session. So, all right, that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead, add that to my water there. I'm going to go ahead and just wait until this comes to a full boil, and then when it does, I will lower the heat, let it simmer for 10 minutes. I will set my timer, and then I will bring you back when it's time to set jars. But this is as easy as it gets, and it already smells incredible in my house. All right, our timer is up, and it's been simmering for 10 minutes. And you can see how nice and thick it got. So now we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to move this over to the workstation, and I'm now going to lower the heat on my jars that have been boiling away, probably for about a half hour now. And I'm going to scoot you over on the other side of my counter. So now I'm going to grab a towel here. I'm going to move my pot close so it's easy to get into my jars. There we go. And then I've removed my scoop from the boiling water. And I let it cool for about a minute on my pad here, along with my funnel. And now I'm going to go ahead, lift the lid off of my canning pot. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift my rack up out of my water here so I can see my jars. Oh, it would help if you could see the top of my pot. All right, there we go. All right, I hope that helps. All right, and you're gonna hear the kids playing downstairs. Okay, so let's get this going. So I'm gonna pour out the water very carefully, and then hopefully you guys can see that. And then we're gonna go ahead, put our funnel on, and now salsa gets a ½ inch of headspace. All right. I also use my debubbler because it is chunky. Give that a good stir. then we'll grab a little plate here. Okay. Then I've got a little dish right down here of vinegar. I'm going to dip a napkin or paper towel in vinegar. We're going to go ahead and we're going to wipe our rims. So you always want to remember to debubble, and you always want to remember to wipe your rims. This helps seal the lids and the rings. Let me give this one more good wipe. And then over here, off stage left, I've got my lids and my rings in really hot water. I'm going to go ahead and put one lid on and a ring. And I'm going to turn that fingertip tight. Okay, if it's super hot, you go ahead and use a towel. You don't want to make it too tight, fingertip tight, okay? And then that is it. You can go ahead and put that in your water bath canner. Beautiful. And super easy to make. Perfect beginning recipe. And of course, you know, as you grow and you get more confident, you can try one of the many salsa recipes that are in the Ball Blue Book or the Bernardin. Lots to choose from. So we're just going to keep going here and fill up our jars, the 1/2-inch headspace. Go ahead and debubble. And that one's a little too full. Now, if you notice that you fill your jar a little too much, take a, you know, you can even dip it in the hot boiling water just to make sure it's super clean. Take a very clean spoon and go ahead and just take some out, because that happens to the best of us. All right. And then I always take a clean napkin or paper towel. Wipe off that rim there. Salsa is a bit more messy. Jam and jelly can be messy as well. Meat, if you're pressure canning, can be greasy, so you want to be careful of that. Go ahead and put on a lid and a ring, and that will be jar number 2 in our canner. Okay, fingertip tight, and there you go. All right, I'm going to keep going here and put salsa in all of these jars. So now, I went ahead and you guys can see, I emptied my pot, and I was only able to get 4.5 pints, which is not a big deal because this, I just won't process this. This will just go right in my fridge once it cools down, and we will use it for dinner tonight, which I was planning on opening one of these jars anyway to do because we're having tacos with Spanish rice. So, you'll probably get more of an accurate read if you use the 6 cans like they suggest. But no matter, if this happens, and this will happen to you when you are canning, no worries. Just place this one in the fridge. If it happens with jam or jelly, just put it in your fridge and use it up. So that's what I plan to do with that. I'm going to get these 2 jars cleaned up and in my canner. All right, so these are going to go in the canner. And then this one, I'm going to let this one cool down just a little bit. And then once it does, I'm gonna go ahead and put on one of these plastic lids. You can get these at Walmart. That's where I get them. I think they're Mainstay brand. They're only like $2.50 for, I think you get like 8 of them or something like that. So I always have these around if I don't want to waste a lid on a jar that's going in the fridge. So this will get a lid once this cools down a little bit. It's still really hot. And my jars are now in my canner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this rack. Okay. Let's get that done. Aim you up here. Now I always pull down my sleeves in preparation of being burned. Lower it gently, gently, gently. And then I have this now. I'm going to turn it up to high because it was on low. I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to stand by this and I'm going to wait and watch it and periodically peek in. And what I'm looking for is a rapid boil. So as you see, when you peek in now, there's no boil. But in a couple of minutes it will be. And once I see that rapid boil, I'm going to go ahead and set my timer. Okay, so I have my timer and this is going to process for 40 minutes in our water bath canner. Okay, so we're not going to set that yet, not until we see that water come to a rapid rolling boil. So I will bring you back when that happens. You can take a look at what that looks like. All right, so I can hear it in there, so I'm going to give you a little peek of what you want to see. Okay, so when your canner looks like this, you know you're ready to go. So we're going to come over here to the timer. We're going to hit start. All right, so I always do a backup timer just in case. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set my timer here as well for 40 minutes. And between the two, I should hear something and I can't go wrong, right? All right, guys, I will see you back here in 40 minutes and we'll pull these jars out of the canner. Okay, my timer's going off. Let me open up the lens. So I'm going to stop it, and this one's about to go off. Okay, so we're going to cancel that one, and then I'm going to shut off this heat, and then I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to start the timer again for 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take this lid off here, and I'm just going to let it sit and rest in my canner for about 5 minutes before I pull these jars out. Okay, so in 5 minutes I'll bring you back. So while our timer is ticking down, I'm going to go ahead and in this jar I'm just going to pour a little bit, spoon, just a little bit of salsa into a little jar here so you guys can see it. Let me get that focused. It's a beautiful salsa, and we're going to taste it. So my boys were here for the holiday and I don't have any tortilla chips left, but I do have a Dorito, so we're going to use a Dorito. Alright. Alright, get a nice scoop there. There you have it. You know, I love the Mrs. Wages salsa. It's got a good heat to it. Really good. I prefer fresh salsa personally, which is what I use that little handy dandy thing for, but salsa is always good to have on the shelf, especially for taco night. So really good. So there we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull these jars out straight up and down. So you're going to notice there's going to be water on the top of that. Don't worry about that. That'll evaporate off. But you don't want to tilt your jars at all, because then you can get some salsa under those rims and then that can cause a problem with your seals. So there we go. Up. There we go. Well, these will ping over the next few minutes, and just show them to you. They are absolutely perfect. Their head space is beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. That's how easy it is to can Mrs. Wage's salsa, guys. Super easy. And a great starter recipe if you've never canned before, because there's not a whole lot of steps to making the food. You don't have to worry about, you know, how it's set, you know, and pectin and all that. It's a great first timer recipe to try. So if you give this a try, let me know. I'm so excited for so many of you who are canning for the first time. I cannot even tell you. Congratulations, and I will be one of your biggest cheerleaders. So with that, I'm gonna let you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you back here in 6 days for another canning video. And don't forget to go down below and check out everybody else's link who is doing Jar It Up January. 31 days of canning. I'm so excited. So much fun, and I hope you guys are gonna enjoy it. So, all right, I'll be talking to you soon. Bye, guys.